All right. A little ode to the World Series starting. Hey, folks. Good to see you out there. Good evening, everyone. At least that's what I'm hoping for. My name is Robert, W5ITR. Welcome to the late shift. A little hairy out here tonight. We have tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, all that stuff around us tonight. So we're going to go, hopefully the internet hangs out or hangs in. As many of you guys know, I am on a Wi-Fi internet connection, and man, I don't have a lot of choices out here on the ranch, and well, Wi-Fi isn't great in the rain. So who knows? This may be the shortest late shift yet. Hey, look, if I do drop, I'll attempt to reconnect the stream, so just hang in there a little bit. If I'm unable to reconnect and it's less than an hour in, then I'll kick off a new stream. If we get through the topic tonight, the late shift downlink, and we at least get an hour in, and if we lose the stream, I think we'll call it good and let Mother Nature have her way. But hopefully we'll at least get an hour in. But yeah, it's great to see you all out there. I have a fun topic tonight. And we're going to talk about a little project that I'm going to kick off here next week, actually. And I'm giving you guys a little heads up because it might be a project you may be interested in doing right alongside with me. So we'll get to that pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and get things fired up. Wayne, member for 1 month. That's a beautiful thing, man. Rain to arrive in Conroe in the morning. Yeah. We had a lot of rain last night, and it looks like we're going to get a bunch here tonight as well. Well, it's good to see so many folks early on the stream here. Thanks for joining, everybody. Some quick housekeeping things. We're going to try to keep things moving along so we can get everything in tonight. I always like to mention the community list. Right? If you guys aren't on the community list, if you're new around here, go out there and get on the community list. This is where I keep in contact with everybody in between streams, in between videos, that type of thing. If you're not on there, you should be. If you were on it, you would have got yourself an email reminder tonight that has a little recap of what we did last week, some discount codes, some other links you might find interesting. Also, that's how you get on channel giveaways. So make sure you get on the community list. Also, check out my links. You find that at bitsy/dr, just like you see right there on the screen. And in addition to, being able to find some merch there and some affiliate links and those types of things. Hey, you can also find the KH2 X-ray files out there now. Yeah, I got off my laziness and I put those out there. So let me give you guys a quick look. I'll tell you where to find them if you've been looking for them. If you get out there and just scroll on down, I've got a couple of versions out there. I have some limitations in my link thing here. I'm on the free version, right? I mean, you guys know what all this stuff is like. Everything's a subscription. All of these guys try to get a few bucks, all the rest of that stuff. That's what makes the world go round. But I'm trying to use the free version of things just as long as I can. But if you look out here, we've got the image version, the JPEG version. So you click on this, get it free, and tells you a little bit about it. Okay, tells you who it's for, how you use it, why you want it. If you just plug in your name and your email address, it'll shoot you an email link and you'll be able to downlink it or download it. And then I also have the Excel version out there if you guys want to, maybe manipulate it, keep it up to date yourselves. So you got both versions out there. So again, thanks to EOD for putting that together for everybody. That is a really great resource. And it's great that we have someone who took the time to get that out there so everyone could take advantage of it. Now, EOD, I mean, you already know what's coming, right? As soon as that next satellite comes out, everyone's going to be reaching out to you wanting the update. So that's just the way that kind of thing goes. All right. Like I said, we're going to hustle tonight. We're going to hustle right along. We're going to get right into this and that. Because again, I just don't know when we're going to lose the stream tonight. Feels like a precarious situation. Hey, 45, good to see you out there. Paul, nice to see you out there. Frank is out there as well. Mike, the traveling ham. Thanks for joining, everybody. I appreciate that. It's great to see y'all. All right. This and that. So this is just a little segment where I like to share various things that I've seen or experienced, in this case, throughout the week. All right, this is a little haiku. It's not DNS. There's no way it's DNS. It was DNS. If any of you folks are in the IT space at all, you know what this is all about. Amazon had a big issue Sunday night into early Monday morning, made all of our worlds just flame up and be just terrible first thing Monday morning. And of course, right, they had a DNS problem that essentially took out one of their, probably their most used region, US East 1. It was like their first region. It's the one that's got the most activity in it. And yeah, it went down. Isn't that great? It was down because of DNS for a few hours, and it just, took forever to kind of recoup and get back on track. So we had to give a little shout out there to AWS. All right. I don't have a whole bunch of these, so we're going to zip through these pretty quick. Hey, we talked about the AMSAT symposium last week. We spent a little bit of time talking about some of the cool stuff there. We looked at OzTrax, but a couple other things I just wanted to point out for folks who may be interested. Maybe you're thinking about, maybe you're a member of AMSAT. Maybe you're thinking about becoming a member of AMSAT. Maybe it's just something that you want to try to keep tabs on, right? I'm a member of AMSAT. I'm a lifetime member. I'm a AMSAT ambassador as well. So I keep tabs on all these things, right? Plus it's part of the hobby I'm really interested in, so I try to stay plugged into it. This year, there was a new president elected. So you've got Drew here, who was elected. And, yes, Drew is new, and that's Drew Glassbrenner. He's new to the president position, but he was the vice president last year, and I think he's been the vice president for a number of years. I don't recall off the top of my head. But, some new leadership in there, and I watched his address toward the end of the symposium last weekend, and he's fired up. He's got a lot of ideas. He certainly looks like he's going to be shaking some things up. But in addition to Drew being elected, there's also some more information there about the board of directors. Now you can go out onto the AMSAT website, and you can see all this news out there for yourself if that's something you're interested in. I'm just hitting a couple of highlights here, right? I'm excited to see what Drew does. He's got a lot of, he's new. He's coming in to this role. He's been in the organization for a while, and he, he's kind of waited in the wings, and now he's got his turn to have an impact. So I'm excited. So, Jason, thanks for the super chat. 556. Can't complain about that. Yeah, AWS outages galore. Yeah, it's the one on Wednesday, by comparison, certainly much smaller. Just a blip compared to what was going on Sunday night, Monday morning. But none of those things are good. But it did teach everyone a lesson, or reminded people of some good practices. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. What do I mean by that? It was primarily one region that had a problem, right? So, and AWS has a ton of regions in the US. Where I work, we use 4 different regions. So when you have a regional issue, if you've got things spread around a little bit, you're not completely wiped out, right? Just kind of, common sense, but we all know how, common sense can be in short supply sometimes. But, I had 3 other regions that were not affected at all, which was great. I had 3 other sets of solutions and workloads that I didn't have to worry about, and I only had to worry about one of those regions, right? And if you're set up for multi-region redundancy, then you're in the best position. That is expensive, that is hard, and that requires a lot of work, but depending on your workload, maybe that's what you need to do. Anyhow, enough on that. So welcome, Drew. We're looking forward to seeing what you're going to get up to. And, this was, I think, like his inaugural salvo, shaking things up a little bit. And I think this is great, right? This is something that came out of the meeting on Sunday. It was discussed. I think it took place actually a little earlier in the business meeting, but they announced it, that student memberships are now no cost for AMSAT. So if you are 25 years of age and under, and you're enrolled in some sort of educational program from primary school through a master's degree, then you can become a AMSAT member at no cost. It's a freebie, right? So you get access to the AMSAT journal. You get some discounts in their store for things like t-shirts and, some of the other swag that they sell. So, hey, if you guys are in school and you're 25 or under, go sign up. Why not? Right? Get plugged in. Check it out. Doesn't cost you anything. I think that's fantastic. And, I think it was 20 something. Maybe it was $20 or something. I haven't been concerned about a student membership in a long time. So I don't remember exactly what the price was, but hey, it's free now. Prep Ham Paul, hey, I'm just scrolling up here and I'm seeing some things I missed. I see Jeff out there. Jeff, thanks for the 1 month membership, and yeah, we're going to enjoy the rain. Hey, you can't really complain about it. We need it. But certainly thank you, and welcome to the rocket ship. You've got the rocket ship icon there. Colin and VK, thanks for joining the channel, man. That's awesome. It's good to have you in the ranks. I appreciate it. For you folks that have just joined, I also sign you up for all of my content that I put out on Buy Me a Coffee. Now, that works by email. So I do my best to discern what your email may be, and that could be based on your call sign, right? I might go out to QRZ to see if I can find it. And if you have a call sign in QRZ, I'll use that I'll use that email address that's associated with your call sign to get you plugged in to Buy Me a Coffee. If you've signed up on the community list, I'll go out there and I'll take a look and I'll grab that email list or that email address. If I do not have your email address, and you know I don't have your email address, send me an email so that I can get you access to Buy Me a Coffee. I want you guys to be able to take advantage of that. Prep Ham Paul, look at you, man. You are the best. 5 gift memberships. Thanks. I appreciate that, Paul. Welcome to the ranks. We got Aloysius, Jason, who also signed up already. He's got I wonder how that works. I don't know how that works. Increased Noise, Leaf, and Lee. Welcome. Thank you, Paul. All right. And Kelly, thank you for being out there for 1 month. He's got the rocket ship as well. All right. Very cool. Very cool. Let's see what else I've got for you guys. Oh, did you guys see this? We're going to take a little minute and talk about this. So Ham TV is back on the ISS. And that is a cool thing. Here, let me bring this up real quick so we can chat about this. I just think this is really cool. Let's see. First of all, and I'll put this in the description. We're not going to watch it here tonight. Well, we'll watch a little bit of it. I want you guys to see the quality, right? This is a recording of a Ham TV contact with a school here just a few days ago. I think this took place on the 18th, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, October 18th. Here, let's scroll up here and see who it is. It's Radford Simile Scouts. So let me just play a little bit of this. Let me make sure I don't blow everyone's ears out.
I suspect a lot of creepy sounds will be coming near Halloween. Over.
Hello, this is Freddie. Do you play board games on the ISS?
But isn't that cool?
Yes, we play board games. Actually, we played one last weekend, and we were playing Codename.
That is the quality of video signal that you get from Ham TV. Now, what is Ham TV? All right, I'm going to jump through just a couple of different websites that I found here that talk a little bit about it. Right, so it's it's kind of the marketing name for digital amateur television, right? Digital amateur television transmitter that's in the Columbus module of the International Space Station. All right, and what is this? It's like I forget what band it's on. Let's see, where's this at? But they use this in conjunction with the scheduled school or organization events, right? So, certainly it's very cool if you can make a voice contact, but if you can make a voice contact and see the astronaut on the ISS at the same time, well, that's pretty doggone cool. So what do we got here? 2395 megahertz. Right hand circularly polarized. So you can see this is kind of the details, right? The modulation that they use. You can see what the format is of the video and the audio that comes down. Now, there are certain ground stations that can receive this. And I think we'll look at that just real quick. But I thought this was great, right? How can I watch ham TV, right? This talks about some of the ground stations, right? Here's a link so you can get to those ground stations. And then, this is one that I think we all immediately jump to. Can I build my own? Well, this is in the 2 gigahertz range. So this is a little more difficult than, your typical voice contact. Right, so let's talk about what they're looking for here. They're looking for some sort of dish, at least a 0.6 to a 1.2 meter dish. Some sort of pointing mechanism. Yep, certainly better than trying to do it by hand, but you could do it by hand, right? They're recommending an LNA. A filter. This is probably more important than it might appear right out of the gate. We've got Wi-Fi everywhere today, right? Let's go back and look at this frequency, 2395. That is super close to, that's a rumbler out there. That's super close to our Wi-Fi frequencies, right? So you are really going to want to you're really going to want to filter unless you have a way of turning off that Wi-Fi. Yes, you can use a down converter, something like that. That gets a little more complex. Otherwise you need something that can receive that 2.4 wide transmission. But pretty cool, right? Let's see what else we've got here. So livearis.org/hamtv. Anytime that they have a ham TV event, this is one place you can come to watch it live yourself. So if you want to stream that, you can check it out right here. Right? Like I said, I'll put all these links. In. Here, let's check this out too. I'll put all these links in the description. This just talks about it a little bit more. This has got a link to the YouTube video we watched at the outset. This is that link to that ham TV. This is more specifically about the contact that went on, but Dark has some more information out there, and you can find some of this stuff here. Let's see. Oh, where is this at? Let's see. We got SSTV events. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm sure it's in here somewhere. Yeah, it's not jumping right out at me. But I'm sure if you poke around in here, you'll find other ways to get to those contacts as well. So it's great to see. That's been out of commission for a number of years at this point, maybe 4 or 5 years. So it's great that they've got that repaired and they've got it back up on the ISS. All right, let me see. Let me get you guys back up here. I tend to lose my chat window. All right, Tilo. Howdy, Tilo. Let's see, Mike Armstrong. Welcome. Good to have you in the chat. Chris, good to have you out there. All right. So that is cool stuff. Ham TV back on the ISS. All right, let's see what else do I have today. Oh, wanted to do I don't know that we've got Eric out here yet, but just wanted to send a shout out to him. Congratulations. He Eric had, I believe, I think he had the full kit. And I think he was inspired. He was out in the chat the same as I was during the AMSAT symposium. I saw him out there, and I think he was likely, we saw a bunch of sessions on the CubeSat sim, which was awesome. Hey, Paul, welcome. And I think that inspired him to get on his horse and get his CubeSat built. So congratulations to him. And now I'm feeling like I really need to get mine going. So I may have mentioned this before. I didn't buy the full kit. I bought just the boards. I've got like a huge number of components laying around here. And I wanted to see how much of my component stash I could use in the project before I just, plop the credit card down. So one of the things that we're going to do here on the channel is I'm going to do a multi-part series where we're going to build the CubeSat sim on the late shift. And so I'm going to start out with, okay, if you've just got the boards, how do you get from board to completed project, right? So we're going to talk about getting the frame printed, talk about the various places you can order the parts and whatnot if you want to build this thing up yourself. And they also have, I don't know how long they've had this, but they mentioned it in the symposium. And so I went out digging around in the GitHub, and sure enough, they've got all the details out there. If you want to build a 2U CubeSat sim, you can. So that's kind of intriguing. I haven't seen anybody showing off a 2U CubeSat sim. So who knows? Maybe we'll build that. But that's stuff to come. So what do you do with these CubeSats? So you can build them. They also they broadcast real telemetry. So they actually have a 70 centimeter transmitter on them, and they can transmit multiple modes. They can do CW. They can do some FSK. They can work on several different modes, and they transmit real telemetry. And you use Fox Telem, which is the application that you use if you want to decode any of the Fox satellites that AMSAT's involved with. So you use the actual software that you would use in real life. So it gives you an opportunity to practice with with telemetry. These things have working solar panels. They have a working transmitter in them. They're just kind of a cool project, right? Now, one of the other things that I'll mention, let's keep going here. Let's see, what do I got next? Oh, maybe I have to jump out. Yeah, I'll jump out. Before I jump out, we've got a couple new Gridmasters. You see here on the 18th, we've got 2 more hams have achieved the 488 Gridmaster Award. So congratulations, David Fisher and Gene Igme. Boy, I hope I said that right. So, I've listed all of the additions to Gridmaster that we've had since I've been announcing them here on the late shift. I'm pretty impressed that there's that many. If you go out and look on the AMSAT site, you can see long stretches where people, where there's been no new Gridmasters. So this is a great job. Very cool. All right, let's see what questions we got out there. So we could build a sat CTF, one that simulates a real sat behavior. That's exactly right. Dodgers are having a tough inning, huh? I don't know. Mike, you came in a little late. The cartoon this week had a little shout out to the World Series. So our late shift logo guys got up from their machines. They actually left their computers and walked out to the baseball field. All right. Let me jump over to this real quick. This is the other thing I wanted to share, right? This was another announcement that came out of the symposium on Sunday. So this is a new asset being provided by AMSAT. It's an educator's guide to using satellites in the classroom, right? You can see there's a big emphasis here on the CubeSat sim, right? So here they're talking about, what some of the different waveforms look like based on the mode, right? Here's all the kit and the instructions. So part of it's certainly, building one of these, and thank goodness, right? I love seeing all of these other countries get their high school students to get satellites launched. But man, I want to see some U.S. high schools get some satellites launched. Yeah, so right here's an image of Fox Telem. So that's the actual real same software. That's the very same software that you use to decode Fox satellite telemetry for realsies. Right, so there's lots of good stuff in here, right? I bet you I need to take a little better look at this. I mean, there's all kinds of goodies in here, especially before I dive into building my CubeSat sim. See, like this is the kit. When you buy the kit, you get all of this stuff, right? I bought the boards. I bought these 3 blue boards, and they have the surface mount components already on them, so that's nice. But you've got to provide the rest of this stuff. So part of that series is going to be, look, if you don't want to spend $500 and buy the big kit, and you want to spend $35 to just get the boards, right? What's the most economical way that you can go about building this thing out? That's the way I'm going to approach it, right? How can you get these things printed if you don't have a 3D printer? Where can you find all these parts? Right now, AMSAT does a lot of the work for you, but still, it's there's you have to do a little bit of work to figure some of this stuff out, right? There is a bill of materials and all that type of thing, but you have to do some work to figure this stuff out. And so I'm going to walk through that and try to make that a little bit easier, right? And here's a quick start guide. So lots of good stuff in here. They have a bunch of quick start guides. So check this. You guys should check this out. You can find this on the AMSAT. You can find a link to it on the AMSAT webpage. As always, I'll put all these links in the description as well. All right. I think I've got maybe one more. I should have one more. I hope I have one more. One more item here in the this and that bin. And this is our topic for tonight. So I was out perusing, I guess it was yesterday. Yeah, it looks like it was the 23rd. I was perusing X, and Randy K7AGE is one of the guys that I follow. Right, I used to watch a lot of his videos. I still go back and rewatch some of his videos. He doesn't put out quite as many as he used to, but he's got a great YouTube channel. You should go check that out. He recently did a POTA video with N2MAK. That was really entertaining. But he tuned me into this Cornell Alpha CubeSat mission that I was not familiar with. Now, Randy, I believe, is originally a Western New York guy. If I'm not mistaken, I believe I recall seeing another thread, or I was involved in another thread where we were talking about Rochester, and Mike N2MAK may have been in that conversation as well. I don't recall, because Mike's an upstate New York guy. But I believe Randy is, I think he's a Rochester Institute of Technology grad, if I'm not mistaken. He may be a Cornell grad. I can't quite recall, but I know he's got an engineering background. I think it's RIT though. Regardless, he tuned me into this, and I started looking into it. I'm like, okay, what is going on here? A couple things caught my eye. First of all, it's something that hasn't started yet, right? This is some new project that is imminent, right? So it's always fun to kind of catch one of these things before it gets started, right? So you can be prepared, and if you want to be involved in it, you can do that. Okay, so that caught my eye. Second of all, just because Randy talked about it, right? I mean, Randy's a pretty cool dude, so I wanted to check it out. But the other thing that really caught my eye is that this uses TinyGS, Tiny Ground Station. And, I've had Dawn's talked about TinyGS in the chat before. I can't tell you how many times he's poked me, but it's got to be at least half a dozen times he's poked me and said, hey, have you tried this TinyGS yet? And I said, no, I have not. So I'm going to try it. And we're going to talk about it a little bit tonight. Let me bring this up. And I think this is something that some of you may enjoy giving a try as well. All right, let me get this over here. Yep, I'll put this down in the description so everyone can grab it. But we're going to take a look at it in detail tonight. It's there's just a handful of things that you need to participate, and you may already have some of the things that you need to participate. And if you have to start from scratch, you only need about $100 worth of stuff to get everything that you need from scratch. So before I talk about the mission, right, let's go down and just talk a little bit about what you need so that I don't lose you guys too early. Okay. Now there's some links in here for like some Amazon wish list type lists and AliExpress, right, where you can buy some of these things. I wanted to make it easy for you guys, so I also went out. Let's see, I added a section in my Amazon store. I'll show you where that's at. Okay, it's this very first item right here. And I listed out some of the things that you need, right? The most expensive thing that you need that you may or may not have is this 433 megahertz antenna, right? But we'll come back to that in a second. Okay. I mean, this is kind of a mashup of two of my favorite things. This is satellite and LoRa, right? This is satellite technology and the same technology that powers Meshtastic. So it's like, how can I not do this, right? This is the thing you got to do. You got to try this. But it uses, right here, you can see it uses that little 433 megahertz antenna, that omnidirectional antenna, right? It's a disc cone style antenna. We know those are great for reception. and it gets plugged into a LoRa receiver, right? This is the same thing as a Meshtastic device, but here's the catch. Did you guys see? This is 70 centimeters instead of 900 megahertz, right? Our US frequency for Meshtastic is 915 megahertz. This is using one of the other frequencies that Meshtastic uses, and you have to therefore get a Meshtastic radio that can receive on that 437.4 megahertz. Okay, so you may not have that. Okay, and there's a couple other things that you need to be aware of. Let me find it so we get the detail right. Oh, where are we at? It's got to be, here we go. So you got to get the 433 megahertz flavor, right? Instead of the 915 megahertz flavor or the 800 and whatever that megahertz flavor is. You need the 433. And this thing also has to have the LoRa 32 chip. Okay, that's important for it to be plug and play with TinyGS. Okay, because this uses the TinyGS software. Okay, let me just see what the reaction is. See what you guys think of this little project here. All right, let's see. Yeah, Randy is a cool guy. You got it, Frank. Yeah, there's some great, I highly recommend, right? There's that symposium. We touched on a lot of the sessions on the Friday portion last week in the late shift. And then there was another session on Saturday. And I encourage folks to go out there and look for that. There's some great discussion. There's, Drew gives his address as taking over as the president. There is, they also do some awards. Yeah, so there's a lot of good things out there. You guys should go check that out. Let's see, reflashing all my Meshtastic back to 2611. Oh, interesting. Well, you'll have to tell me a little bit more about that. Let's see, any Unity gain 70 centimeter antenna would be fine. Yep, there you go. I think that's right. Colin, that's a good call out. All right. So let's talk through this just a little bit more. Let's see here. Well, I tell you what, let's go up here and let's take a look at what the mission is. Okay, so Alpha is a 1U CubeSat. Very cool. Coming out of Cornell University. Okay. The primary mission is to deploy a retroreflective laser sail into low Earth orbit. The light sail fully separates from the CubeSat and becomes its own free-flying spacecraft. I mean, come on. How cool is that? Thanks to gram-scale flight computers, Chipsats mounted to the sail. Right, so here's an image of the sail, and it's got these little Chipsats on it. I mean, come on. How cool is this? Okay, here's a close-up. Let's see what else we got here. The Chipsat, 4 in total for redundancy. Collect data on the sail's GPS position and attitude. Okay, downlink the telemetry to the ground. Oh, it goes right from those Chipsats. That's cool. These palm-sized spacecraft are powered exclusively from solar. Limited to 100 milliwatt. And this is the first flight. Okay. So let's see what this looks like. So you got this little solar powered device connected to the corner of the sail. I'm wondering if this is antenna here. The CubeSat deploys from the ISS in mid-November, right? So just right around the corner. You've got time to get all your stuff if you want to participate. Sail deployment shall nominally occur just a few days after. Yep, due to the atmospheric drag present, the sail is expected to deorbit within 48 hours. Okay. You got that. 48 hours. Okay. So let's think about that. So this thing's only going to be up there for 2 days. You might get 1, maybe 2 passes. I mean, you might get a few more, right? But if you get 2 passes, if you get 1 pass a day, you're probably pretty lucky. Okay. So something to consider, right? I'm going to show you the items that I bought. You know, some people might think, you know, I don't want to spend $100 for a 2-day experiment, but you know, this is equipment you'll likely be able to reuse. So keep that in mind. And we'll talk about all the equipment specifically. And you can choose to spend more or spend less depending on how strong you want your ground station to be, right? So I went with the $100 route because I want to have a good shot at receiving some of this telemetry from this project. Okay. So it's a short window project. If it's something you want to get involved in, right, you're going to want to jump on it pretty quick. You want to get your stuff ordered. You know, they're going to have, and we'll look at some of these things on Amazon. Some of them are fairly low quantities. Now, can you maybe search around and find a replacement? Sure, you probably can, but you know it's easier if you buy straight from the list. You know that somebody's already tested that, and that's your best chance of plugging it together and having it work. If you're going off script a little bit, right, you might have to play around a little bit to get stuff to work. Right? Might be a little bit more of a challenge for you there. Oh, good afternoon from NZ. Welcome. Dawn, good to have you out there. Dawn, you keep asking me. I don't know when you showed up, but I said, Dawn keeps asking me, have you tried TinyGS yet? Have you tried TinyGS yet? Well, all my stuff shows up tomorrow, Dawn, so I'm going to be putting this together, and I'm going to be trying TinyGS. All right, let's see here. Yep, so here they got some, you know, just the base level kit cost you around $100. I think you can probably save a few bucks depending on if you tried some of the things that we were trying a few weeks back. You may have bought some things like a LNA that you can reuse, right? If you bought one of these, if you have one of these, you can reuse that for this project. Again, you can go into this. You can pull up these lists from Amazon, from AliExpress, right? I built some stuff out here for you as well to try to make it even easier. Okay, we'll go through that list in detail. Okay, let's see what else we need to know here before we talk about, and this talks about TinyGS, the application as well. Right, I mean, this is really pretty simple, pretty plug and play, right? You're going to have an antenna. That antenna is going to go into this LoRa board, and you need to have power to this LoRa board, right? And they're suggesting just plug this thing into commercial power, right? Right, this is a 2-day mission. You don't want to be monkeying around and lose the chance for a rare pass because you don't have battery, right? So now look, depending on where you're going to put it, you might need to use a battery, but they're suggesting, you know, just plug it straight into USB power. Get some Get some mains power on that thing. All right, so this is gonna, let's see. Collecting data from the satellite simpler than you think. Takes just $30. That's just for the LoRa board, the microcontroller board. Okay. So how does all this stuff work? So again, you're going to be receiving telemetry from those sail-based devices, right? These little devices that are on the sail. You're going to be receiving that onto this antenna, through this antenna. It's going to come into the this little LoRa receiver. And you can connect to this over Wi-Fi, right? This has Wi-Fi built into it, so you connect to it via Wi-Fi. You go in, you set up your TinyGS, and it does the rest. Let's see what else it says here. So collecting data is simpler than you think. Just get your microcontroller board, right? It's going to listen. It's going to do the decoding. Okay, it's powered by USB, right? We talked about that. It connects to Wi-Fi to share the data, right? Uses TinyGS, a global open source network of do-it-yourself ground stations. Okay, and Cornell will pick up the data right from TinyGS, right? They're hoping, look, they get two trips around the Earth here. They're hoping as many people put these out there as they can so they can collect as much data as they can. Right? So it'd be cool to contribute to that project. Let's see. To track our light sail, you'll need a stronger antenna. This screws right onto the board. Should be mounted with clear view to the sky, your rooftop, a balcony, a backyard. Okay. Fully functional setup capable of hearing our chipsats will cost $100. Right? And you may have some stuff already, so it may be cheaper than that. So let's talk about all the chips. Okay, as we mentioned, you need a LoRa 32 based 433 megahertz. That's an ESP32 based device. Okay, there's a couple of them. There's the LilyGo. Heltec has one, right? There's a couple of them that are going to be plug and play. This one's $30. Okay, what else do we need? Oh, the antenna, right? This is that disc cone style antenna. 433 megahertz, 3 dBi. And it's a pretty interesting design, right? The actual coax connection is way up here in the top portion of the antenna. This is all this little mini mast with this offset here. That's just for mounting. Let's see what we got going on out here. I just got here. Okay. Let's see. Dawn, you have a Heltec V3. That's all you need. That's actually what I actually bought the Heltec V3 myself because, again, you know, if I'm going to reuse this, I went for that guy. This guy still has the micro USB on it, right? Where the Heltec V3 has USB-C. Let's see. Yeah, Don, we've got, I gave everybody the warning whenever we started the stream, right? There's a chance I could go off the air at any minute here. So, we had some nasty storms coming through. Let's see. The eggnog that Mark sells works well. Yep, that will work. Absolutely. Got to make sure you have the 433 megahertz version, right? Let's see. So this is more it gives me the feel of a discone more than anything, but Yeah, I see what you're saying. Kyle, welcome. Let's see. Somebody asked how many nodes is good to have. I just bought 30 Heltec V3s for a project. Well, that seems like a nice roundish number. Okay. So this is the antenna they suggest. It's a $40 antenna. It looks pretty stout. We'll take a look at these things a little bit closer on Amazon. But if you've already built a halibut eggnogs, you're already set, right? If you've got the 70 centimeter halibut eggnogs, you're ready to roll. I thought this thing looked pretty doggone cool. I've got the 70 centimeter halibut eggnogs, but I bought this anyhow because I'm sure I'll find some other purpose to use this. They're suggesting that this thing comes with a piece of coax that is, I don't know how long this is. Here it is, like almost 10 feet long, 3 meters, right? They're saying, hey, it doesn't need to be that long. Spend an extra $10 and get this 1 foot piece of coax that can get you, that antenna has a TNC connection that can get you from a TNC connected antenna to an SMA, right? And do it in a very short amount of cable. Look at that. They call out the LNA right here. So if you guys happen to purchase one of those, you can take advantage of that. Now we talked about this before. This is a broadband LNA, right? This is very broadbanded, 20 megahertz to 4,000 megahertz, right? 20 megahertz to 4 gig. That is amplifying everything. But they say you could use it, and they actually show their reference station actually uses this. So if you've got it, throw it on there. Okay. Here's another option. This is a signal booster for 433 megahertz, right? This is a low noise amplifier that's specific to these frequencies, 433, 510, 868. I think you can buy those depending on which flavor you want, right? You can buy whichever flavor you want. I bought the 433. I bought this just because I wanted to try it, right? And you can see how this, right, how they're showing this, right? They're directly connected to that feed point on the antenna. They have a 1 foot cable that goes into this LNA, and then they're using, gosh, do I still have one of those sitting around here? Oh, I've got one on the LNA actually, right? They've got just they're taking it straight off the LNA and straight into the LoRa board, right? Trying to minimize your losses as much as you can, reduce the coax as much as you can. Okay, so that's the idea there. They even go so far as to, get you some charging blocks. Here's a 3-pack for $8. You probably have a charging block. You probably don't need to buy one, right? They even identify some cables. Now, these are the micro USBs, right, which you'll need if you go with the board that they specify. If you go with the Heltec, then that's micro or that's USB-C. You won't need to buy this cable or scrounge this cable. You probably have one of these laying around in a junk drawer somewhere. Okay, so you probably don't need to buy some of these things. Depending on your situation, you may or may not need to buy an extension cord, right, to get power to this thing. Depends on where you're going to put it. You may or may not need a project board to throw all that stuff, or a project box to keep it weather tight. Now, again, this is kind of a reference station, so they pick very specific equipment, very specific devices. They even say which O-rings you want to use, right? And, you know, this thing's going outside. They even put something like this in here to protect the extension cord plugging into your charging block. Okay, if you need a mast, they even suggest a mast. I mean, they give you everything you need to put this thing together. Right, here's that LilyGo board. Right. I mean, they really put this, you know, they've done a great job putting this all together, telling you how to do it all. I think this is a fun little project. Like I said, I have already ordered all my stuff, and you know, I'm going to put mine together on stream next week. We can talk about it. If this is a project you guys want to play along with, get your stuff on order, scrounge your stuff up, go through your junk drawers, get into those bins, find your stuff. And this, I mean, this will walk you right through it. If you buy all the things that they specify, they tell you exactly how to put this thing together, right? Using all these parts and pieces. And this is pretty slick. I got to say, they do a pretty nice job here, right? So they got this little antenna. They drill a couple holes in this project box. That's the little mast that comes with the antenna. Okay, that's how you could mount that. And look, they show you how to mount the project box right at the base of that little mast. Bring that coax directly into the box. Put your LilyGo in there. Put your Heltec in there. Get it all wired up. If you've got an LNA, put that in there as well. Right there's the most basic. Coax comes in. USB power comes out in the bottom. Plug that USB power into your brick. If you have to put this out in the middle of the yard for 2 days, remember this is a 2-day mission. Put an extension cord on it. Put a box around it in case it's raining. Okay. Put your little O-rings on it. Slip those O-rings into these little slots and that'll be watertight. And doesn't that look slick? That is pretty slick. I was really impressed with that. Somebody spent a little bit of time doing their homework and putting this together. And I think they did a real nice job with it. Okay. So if you buy all the stuff that they outline, this is what it can look like right here. Okay, here's the most, oh, right here it is with the LANA, right? Comes down, that's the 1-foot cable that they specify, comes into the box, goes into the LANA. The LANA goes into the SMA connector on the board. They got power coming out the bottom of the box. They're powering the LNA. Looks like what they're doing is they're coming off here. Maybe they got a splitter. We may have to take a closer look at that. Maybe they're coming off there with a splitter, and then that's how they're powering the LNA. This has got a little USB-C port on it, so you can get power into this thing with the USB-C. Okay. Pretty cool. All right, let me get caught up with you guys in chat. I have an outdoor extension cord with 2 USB. Dawn, you're set. Yeah. Well, the cheap Ziplock storage tubs, you know what? If you look at the bottom, right, they're showing an alternate method. Right, if you don't want to spend $10 or whatever it is, $8 for this little plastic part, right? They wrap it up in some plastic bags, tape it up, wrap it up, so it won't get wet. Okay. I mean, they're giving you kind of a nice clean way to do it. If you're willing to spend a few bucks to make that happen, you can reuse all that stuff, right? But if you don't want to spend the money on it, I mean, you can do it super cheap as well. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying here. Also, get a small battery and run the Heltec off the battery, charge the battery. Yeah, you can do that. Painter's pole, yep. Yes, I am going to put links for all of this stuff in the description, right? You can find this on the Cornell website as well, but just to make it easy for you guys, I'm gonna put it out there. I mean, if you guys also happen to follow Randy, he drops it out here as well, right? So if you don't want to wait for me to put the link in there, I probably won't do it tonight. I'll do it tomorrow. Or here's the other thing. I mean, that tells you about the project, right? That's everything you want to know about the project. Let's take a quick look at these items, okay? So here's that antenna, right? If you want to buy the antenna, they specify it's 40 bucks. They say they've got 10 left in stock. Okay. I bought one of these. Mine will be here tomorrow. Okay. If you want, you can go out to, just to remind you guys, if you go out to the bitsy/dr, you go out to my links, you can go down to the link to shop the Amazon store, and I put all these items in a store for you. Okay. Here is that 433 megahertz LNA. Do you have to have this? Nope. Sure don't. But it might give you a chance to receive a marginal pass where you might not, receive any data without it. Okay. Again, if you have one of these, I should add that too. I'll add that to the store as well. Let me see here. Oh, you guys I'm sure you can find these. These are a little bit more expensive, it looks like. Let's see if we can find a cheaper one. There, $34. Here we go. Okay. I'll add this to the store as well. Okay. But this guy is, 30 bucks, 433 megahertz. You're not going to be boosting the signal of, what was it? 20 megahertz to 4 gig, right? This is going to be more specific. Okay. Heltec V3. This is the one I chose to get, again, simply because it's got USB-C. The one that they recommend, let's see. Here's the one that they recommend. Now, here's a problem. This is another reason why I didn't buy this one. See the delivery? It's pushed out till November 18th. Okay, so that's not good. Now, you may be able to find this somewhere else, right? You might be able to find it many other places. Don't order it from Amazon if you want this specific one, right? You may get it too late, right? They're saying that right now the launch is planned for mid-November. You might get this too late. So don't order that one from Amazon. Order it somewhere else. Or you could also buy the T-Beam if you can get the 433 version. Okay? It's a few more bucks. 36. Okay? I bought this one for 25. It was, when I bought it, it said mine will be delivered tomorrow. It was 2-day delivery. Looks like it's pushed out just a little bit further, right? But I mean, if you're getting it in early November or next week, you're going to be fine. Okay. If you need a long USB cable, right? Here's one for $10, 20 foot. You may or may not need something like that. I just threw it out there. I have bought this cable and I've used it. I've used this connected to a solar node that runs in, that's outside. And then I run this under the door. Actually, I used this same cable up at Huntsville Hamfest whenever I was running the Meshtastic BBS when I put it on top of the cabin. Right, I had the Meshtastic device sitting up in the gutter on top of the cabin. I ran this into the cabin under the door into the Raspberry Pi. And I've done that for 2 years. I've used that cable in that manner for 2 years for a couple of different trips, and I've not had any problems with it, so I threw it out there in case people need it. Here's an Amazon Basics extension cord you may or may not need. Chances are you've got an extension cord laying around the house, but they've got cheap ones of different lengths, so that's out there as well. If you want the O-rings, right? $5 if you want to add the O-rings. Could you get away without using the O-rings? Sure. But they have them on their list, so I put them in the list here. Okay. Here's the cables they say, swap out that 10-foot cable, that 3-meter cable. And they say put this 1-meter cable, or I'm sorry, this 1-foot cable on, right? Here's the problem with that 1-foot cable. It's got a protracted delivery date. I went for the 1.5-foot cable and it was delivered in 2 days. Okay. So just pay attention to some of those little details. Keep it as short as you can, but make sure you get it in time, right? Again, this is a 2-day mission. Once they launch the thing, it's going to go by pretty quick. Okay. And then I've got some of these, but I needed some more of these, so I bought some more of these. Right? $8 for 4 of each type. Pretty straightforward. All right, what do you guys think of all that? Yep, the Heltec in the Ziplock tub with the battery. There you go. And Dawn's got a video out there on the TinyGS. Dawn, I'm excited. I know you've talked about it a lot. I'm excited to give that a try. Yeah, I grabbed that LNA just to see how it worked. Let's see, by the way, the Discord DM, I sent you a link back in September. You can pull that up and look at the data you get from the website. Oh, okay. Cool. Let's see, they already closed the window on the cheaper bulk Heltec V3. Yep. The antenna is SMA and the antenna is SMA. No need for that. SO239. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Dawn, if you're looking at I'm getting just a crazy amount of these open. Let me just shut some of this stuff. If you're looking at this antenna, let's see here. This is not a SMA antenna. Now, if you're using something else, you might not need that little cable, but this guy here is not an SMA antenna. Does not have a SMA connector on the antenna itself. Can't have too many adapters. That's for doggone sure. Yeah, Kelly, give it a try, man. I mean, like I said, I'm gonna follow it here on the channel. It'd be great if some of you guys are doing it as well. It'd be fun to compare notes. And certainly, you know, if any of you are putting it together and, you know, once we get to the point where the thing's flying, if somebody would like to come on the stream and talk about, you know, what their experience has been with it, we can share notes and, you know, share with everybody here in the community. Hamman CT, I had planned for the time. Oh, nice. So you already have some of the stuff. Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, you know, I'm sure many of us have some of this stuff laying around. And sometimes it's all about, you know, sometimes you just don't want to futz around with stuff. You just want to, there's the connector there. Sometimes, you know, when somebody gives you a cookbook, sometimes you just want to bake the cake. Right? Sometimes you don't want to mess around. The cable SMA is on the cable that they supply. Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So I think it's going to be a fun project. I'm excited for it. And like I said, I think that these instructions are so well done that I think, you know, I think folks will be able to follow them and have success, be able to contribute to the project, right? It behooves them to make great instructions here because, again, they get 2 trips around the earth. They want to try to capture as much telemetry as they can. Oh, you want to see the rest of that video? We can do that. So it seems like a, you know, decent antenna for $40. I've certainly seen cheaper antennas, meaning cheesier quality. Looks like it's, you know, the base of it looks to be fairly heavy. These aren't super thin. You know, the ground plane here isn't super thin and cheesy. The aerial looks to be similar to, you know, what they're using here for the ground plane. I mean, there's not a lot to it, but, you know, there's not a lot to a lot of antennas. Again, if you contribute, you will show up on the TinyGS website and can track yourself on there. Yeah, that's very cool. You have this very same antenna, Dawn? Is that right? Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be really cool to see a bunch of people here from chat, from the community, posted out, contributing to the project. I think that'd be really awesome. That'd be fun. Nice. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty, looks like it's a pretty decent antenna, you know. So I'm excited. I'll get that tomorrow. I'll get this. I'm also really excited to see this. Now, I read down through the reviews and such. This is the only picture that shows it. And they did mention in the reviews, oh, I guess this one shows it as well. It does come with the little power connector, right? It does come with this little, this LNA does come with the little power connector. Right, max supply voltage 6 volts, 3.6. So, you know, we saw in one of the pictures here where it looks like they're getting power right off of the LoRa board. I want to find that. Yeah, I mean, that looks like it's fairly sturdy. Who knows? That chrome may start peeling pretty quick. It might look sturdy, but I mean, I'm sure it's fine. Don's had one for a year, he said. So let's see. My guess is they're pulling power right off this LoRa board here for that LNA. Where's that at? I know we saw that. Oh, it was this one here. So this one looks like, let's see, can we zoom in on this sucker? This looks like they're using some sort of little splitter. Comes out. I don't know where it, or wait a second. Okay, so this is coming into the box. This is the power coming into the box. Yeah, it looks like they've got a little splitter here. Some of the power's going to the LNA. They're splitting the power off that. So that's got enough juice to power the LNA and the LoRa board. Let's see here. I thought I saw another picture, though, with that other LNA in it. Oh, yeah, wait, it was up toward the top. Here it is. Yeah, they're pulling power off a couple of pins. And this here looks like a, doggone it, what's the thing called? You know, the bigger, I want to say T-deck. It's not a T-deck. They're pulling power right off the LoRa board. So this little guy does come with this little lead. All right. Well, I'm happy we got through. I'm curious. I'm going to take a look at the Doppler here. Sounds like things have calmed down a little bit. Holy smokes. Let me show you guys this. Holy moly. Let's see what I do. I lost this. Check that out. Let's see if I can make this big enough here. So you got tornadoes down here. Where is this? East of Hillsboro. A little bit north of Waco, right? We're seeing some tornado icons there. So all this stuff, I mean, look at that. What a mess. But it looks like once it's passed, right? So this is me, right? Looks like I'm pretty much clear sailing. Dodge the bullet. Yeah, this was a mess. Yeah, hopefully these folks down here are doing all right. Hate to see that. Dawn, where are you at? Let's see. I know I have an idea. I think you're probably somewhere around in here. Let's see, where'd chat go? Yeah, crazy storms. Canceling a bunch of events. Yeah, they actually played a lot of football games last night in anticipation of games getting canceled tonight, which, you know, that was pretty smart. Near Cedar Creek. Let's see. So that's further south, a little bit further west, I think. What else is near you, Dawn? Are you south of Waxahachie? Maybank? You're not down by Mahia, are you? Can't find you on here. Southeast of Dallas, 50 miles, Athens. Yeah, so there's Dallas. So we're going to go southeast of Dallas. So are you east of Mahia? I don't know where you're at. Huh. Gun Barrel. Oh, you're by Gun Barrel City. Gotcha. I know exactly where you are then. It's funny. Everybody knows where Gun Barrel City is. All right. All right. Well, gang, that's what I wanted to get through. I'm excited about this project. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. Yeah, so I want to get this project done, and then I want to follow it up with the CubeSat sim, because I think that will be fun as well, right? I mean, it'll be fun to build, but then after we build it, it'll be fun to play with it. It'll be fun to use Fox Telem and, you know, start using some of those tools, getting familiar with those tools so we can use them to decode some live satellites. Yeah, that's right, Frank. Let's see. Let's see, Pepe, you got the newsletter in your mailbox, but Oh, but you came earlier. Hey, Pepe, I remembered I took your advice and I've been adding UTC time to all my posts as well. So hopefully that's helpful for some folks. I am excited about, we get a very eclectic group here on the late shift, right? I think it's just by nature of the timing, we get a very international group here, which is awesome. So that was a fantastic suggestion. Thank you for reaching out and making that suggestion. It says the 49 are over here. Oh. Yeah. All right. I live 5 minutes away from Curtis Creek State Park. Oh, okay. All right. That helps, Dawn. I know where you're at. All right. Let's see. Since we got through, let's see what else we have to talk about. Let me think what else I've got cooking here I can share with you guys. I have not had a chance. This whole week I was I had some sort of bug this whole week. I've had a sore throat, and I was hoping I would recover enough that I'd be able to do the live stream. Frank had asked me, Tank Radio Frank had asked me to do something on his channel, and I had to beg off this week just to make sure I would be in good shape for tonight. So it feels like I don't have too much to share. One thing I do have coming in, we had talked a little bit about the Maxpedition packs, right? We talked about this a little bit last week, and I had mentioned that I would really like to try one of their backpacks sometime. And, I'm still very happy with my Everly stock Switchblade, but, everything I've always had from Maxpedition has always been top notch in terms of quality and, it just lasts, right? I've had great luck with everything lasting. And wouldn't you know it, I think it was, I don't know if it was Sunday, maybe Monday, Maxpedition had reached out to me and asked if I wanted to review one of their backpacks. I said, heck yeah. Let's see. The same list of equipment for TinyGS can be used to build the Radio Sonde. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. Radio Sonde station. Oh, that's awesome. So once this mission is over, once everyone's had a chance to work this Alpha project from Cornell, they'll be able to redeploy that equipment for another project. That's awesome. Right? So then people don't need to feel like it's a kind of a one-shot and maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't. We've already got something else lined up to use it with. So that's cool. Thanks for sharing that, Dawn. We'll have to talk about that once we get through this project, just transitioning over to that other project. But anyhow, the Maxpedition team reached out and said, hey, would you like to evaluate one of our backpacks? So they're shipping one of those out to me. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. I've never had one of their backpacks, so I'm really curious to check it out. So I've got that going on. I've got a video for that pocket organizer to get out. I've got a video for the Elecro ThinkNode M1 to get out. Those are basically shot. I just need to get them edited. Like I said, this wasn't a great week. I've got, you guys tell me if I've never thought of this. I just take some things for granted, I think. But do you guys think there is a need, or it would be valuable to do, you know, maybe a 2 or 3 part series on just getting someone started in Meshtastic, like the very basics, right? This is, you know, I don't know that there's a lot that goes into explaining the concept of channels and frequencies and how frequency slots work, and, you know, really just giving a grassroots explanation of how some of this stuff works. Some of the questions I've been getting, you know, in the last few weeks kind of lends me to believe that that could be helpful for some folks. Nightcry says there's a lot of it out there. Yeah, I just assumed there was as well, but I keep getting a lot of questions about it. Oh, and Frank, so that's what you've been talking about as well. There's a lot of MT, not so much on what you were saying. And you've got a couple nodes running. Yeah, so I mean, I certainly don't want to put something out there if it's already been covered well. There's no sense in doing it again. Let's see, just a video on do not run router repeater modes. Yeah, that could be. And you know what? Maybe yeah, I'm going to have to think about that a little bit. You know, and maybe it's the kind of thing too. People don't know what to do with Meshtastic. Yeah, to me, that's the big thing, right? It's a technology looking for a purpose, right? It's, you got to find, you know, we talked about this a little bit last week. You got to have a use case for this stuff to get it out of, you know, geekdom into mainstream, right? That's what I was talking about last week with Trina, right? She didn't care about it at all until there was a practical application. And then she was like, yeah, I'll take one of those. Give me one of those. There are a lot of, okay, I have a node. What do I do now? Yeah, it seems to me that a lot of people don't understand the concept behind frequency slots and channels. That feels like there's a gap. And, you know, maybe it's the kind of thing. I mean, YouTube's funny, you know, where there may be stuff out there, but sometimes you just got to redo something, you know, to kind of bring it back around. You know, it's like, it can be tough. Once a video has kind of run its course, it can be tough to get that revived and get it circulating again. Sometimes you just need to do a refresher, right? Now, the one thing I have been thinking about is there have been just a ton of improvements in the app over the last 3-4 months. And so, you know, it might not be redundant if you also include some of the new capability, the changes within the app, right? Because the app looks, you know, very different than it did a year ago, certainly. Yeah, that's Dawn, I can see that being an issue, right? But to me, right, what you're describing again is the problem where people don't really understand the concept behind the channels and how the frequency slots work and how they relate to channels, and they just set it up and they don't ever change it because they don't understand it. Let's see, we need more videos on ways to get your base station elevated. Oh, I see. That's interesting. Oh, that's, that's really interesting. That might be a fun. I think I've mentioned to you guys before. I'm going to take a note on this one. It's my first note tonight. I think I've mentioned this before, but if the Wise County Discord group for Meshtastic, there are a bunch of tower jockeys in this area, and these guys are like racing each other. They're challenging each other. It's a competition to see who can track down the owner of these towers and who can get a node, up on these 200-foot towers that we've got kind of strewn about the county here. And I might have to reach out to some of those guys and see if they would be interested in coming in and joining a live stream and having them on the channel and just talk about exactly that, right? How these guys have gone about getting all these nodes up on these towers. Our coverage in Wise County is phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. And it's because, this handful of people have taken it upon themselves to get a node on every freaking tower in the county. And I mean, they are getting them out there. It's great. You go out into that Discord, and you'll just see these pictures. They always take a picture, from the vantage point of the node once they get them up there. It's so cool. So Haver Taxi says, I've gone down that rabbit hole and still struggling with utility. Yeah, and to me, that is the key. I think that would be another good roundtable discussion, right? Is what utility, what are killer use cases? I tell you, it's I really like putting a node on a goat in the herd. It's just so nice to be able to see where the herd is, right? I mean, that's one of the benefits of working with goats. They are herd animals. They're going to stay together unless you got somebody that gets hurt or you got some sort of situation. Usually all you got to do is put a node on one goat and you're going to know where the herd is at all times. Robert from Sacramento, welcome. It's good to have you here. We're just BSing about Meshtastic right now. We kind of finished our main topic and the floor is open. So if you've got a topic, throw it on out there. Feel free. Have I ever tried sending data like temperature? So I have played with I mean, you guys know that the T1000 has a, it's got a temperature sensor in it. It's got a light sensor in it as well. Thanks for hanging out there, Hamman CT. I'm guessing that's Hamman, Connecticut, maybe? Might be getting a little late for you there. I appreciate you hanging out for a while. We'll see you next week. So, you know, you can track the information that's in this pretty easily. But I've not tried using a third or like a plug-in sensor, right? Yeah, they definitely do. Nightcry Seed Studio's got a bunch of fun stuff like that. That might be a fun thing to do some night, is play with a bunch of telemetry. You can reach the repeater here in Gun Barrel up to 10 Mile North. That's pretty cool, Don. I mean, these things are fantastic whenever we've got a big group together and we're at a ham fest. I really enjoy. Now, is it necessary? No. I mean, everybody's got an HT anyhow. This is just another communication method, but I really enjoy it. It's, I really enjoy, and it's not so much the communicating directly that I enjoy. It is seeing where all the nodes are, right? Seeing the density of the nodes, seeing how many nodes there are overall. It's kind of, I enjoy all the metadata around the network. I enjoy watching how it changes. I enjoy seeing how, you know, each Hamfest we tweak the network config just a little bit to see how it performs. I enjoy that. But, you know, in terms of, do we actually talk on these a lot? I mean, we talk on them a little bit, right? It's certainly handy. You know, whenever you've got UHF, VHF, this takes a back seat, certainly. But I think this gets a whole lot more interesting with something like Reticulum, where you can start sending data, right? You can send binary data or, you know, other forms of data. I think that takes that to another level of utility. You know, and I do believe that there's a real valid use case for these whenever you don't have other communication solutions, right? I think it's a great thing to have as a backup when you're out as a group. You know, whenever we go camping, and, you know, we usually go with a fairly good sized group, and we don't always go to the same place together. You know, I mean, whenever we went to Yellowstone, right, we were kind of strewn all over the place, but we could communicate with these, right, which was great. We could communicate with HTs in most cases as well. Yeah, protobuf is the key, certainly. Right, it's all about protobuf. But that eliminates these types of devices, right? That eliminates the NRF chip. Right, it is not an ESP32, right? That's certainly the benefit of the ESP32. Let's see. Does the NRF chip work as well? I mean, I know that under the underline, the underlying, I know that it uses protobuf as the streaming technology, right, for the data. Right, that's how it's, right, it's a variable bit length message type, right? If it's ASCII, it's going to send a byte per character. If it's if not, it's going to send what, either 3 or 4 bytes per character. Frank, got to jump. Hey, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it, Frank. Good to see you, buddy. But protobuf is what allows you to have kind of your different encoding, right? It can do multiple types of encoding. Yeah, I should dig into that a little bit more. Boy, there's so many fun things to dig deeper in on. Let's see. So maybe there's maybe an opportunity for some niche content around basic Meshtastic stuff, but maybe what I need to do is go out there and find some of that good basic stuff that's out there so I can point people to it. Because again, I get a lot of, questions, from folks that are just getting started with it, which is great. I'm glad they're reaching out. But I'm always just a little surprised that they're not able to get an answer, or they haven't been able to find an answer yet. That's why I was thinking it might be worthwhile to, take a whack at a couple, very grounded, basic videos so that people really understand what's going on. Yes, hit that like button, please. We always appreciate that. How we doing out there? Is everybody, let's see, what do we got? I'm curious, did the quality of the stream hang in there pretty well? Let's see, we still have 30 people out there. Gotta love that. Thanks for sticking around, folks. There was a blip once. Okay. I'm not surprised. I mean, you guys saw the wall that came through, the wall of green and red that came through. Looks like it's just cleared Dallas at this point. So just past Garland, Rockwall's getting just hammered right now. McKinney's kind of getting it. The east side of McKinney's getting it right now as well. Be glad to see that move on by, pass on through, get on out of here. Rain fade is real. Indeed. Well, I'm glad the audio hung in there. That's good. All right. All right, gang. What else you want to talk about? What do we go to next? What is next? Yeah, I'm excited to get this TinyGS stuff. Let's look at this TinyGS a little bit. let's see what operating systems are supported here. All right, so here it says, now this will be interesting. Now, Dawn, you said you've used your Heltec V3 with it, right? Because it's calling out the V1, the V2. Let's see, you got the LilyGo, TTGo V1, V2. T-beam, that's what I couldn't think of before. The 433 megahertz T-beam version. Now here's some others. Let's see. These look like they're just kind of generic specs. However, any ESP32 board with the SX26X, that's usually the 262, I think. It's maybe the 263. And the SX127X module can be configured using templates. Okay. So let's see what a template is. You have one of the supported boards, you just select it. Okay, if you don't have a supported board, then you're going to set up a template. Create your own template. Okay. This looks pretty straightforward. Get your name, your address. So you're essentially defining your pins. Okay. Well, that shouldn't be a problem then. Dawn, did you have to create a template for that V3? Yeah, let me jump over. I jumped right into the GitHub. I can jump over to the I can jump over to the TinyGS website here. Let's see. Yeah, I'm curious, Dawn, if you had to create a template, or maybe that documentation's old and it supports the G3 or the V3 already. Yeah, I still have my my V4 sitting right here too. I haven't done anything with it yet. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, if I had the 433 version of this, I'd try to use it, try to create a template with it and use it. It was supported by the software. Okay. So maybe that that README in the GitHub might be a little old. You can drill into the map. Yeah, it looks like you can. I think Don wants us to find him on the map. Let's see. I don't know what that little dinging is. All right, where are you at, Don? Does this show us where you are? I would expect you'd be in here somewhere. Oh, there's Athens right there. Your sub is in trouble. All right. HVR Taxi, have her taxi. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Have a good evening and a good weekend. Yeah, we'll give it a second here. See if it can show up. $1,800 active stations. That's pretty cool. 42 million received telemetry. Wow. It's a big number. It's a really big number. I don't know. They don't seem to be showing up here. Let me zoom out a little bit. Here, let's do this. I might have wigged it out. This must be Dawn right here. There he is. There's Dawn. He's contributing to the network. Nice job. We can look and see what he's been up to here. That's pretty cool. Look at all those satellites. Look at all them satellites. This one here was 15 minutes ago. So it does the auto decoding for you if you get a good packet, right? That's what I understand. This one looks like a bad packet. Did it tell me it was a bad packet? Did not. Let's try this one. Telemetry true. It's a beacon. Well, it's a really nice presentation, isn't it? It's pretty slick. These are all the other stations that picked up this particular pass, I'm guessing. Let's see how this guy in Tampa did. Oh, it took, I thought it would show me that. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to go back to Dawn's. Let's look at this Maria. Okay, so that's with that same antenna and the V3. That's cool. These got to be 400 megahertz, 433 megahertz, Chris, because he's using that exact same antenna that we're talking about for the Cornell project and that V3 Heltec. Let's see, does it tell us on here? Yeah, right here. FSK 436, 1992. That is pretty cool. Pretty cool. So all that stuff we were doing the hard way with command line tools, this does for you, right? And presents it to you in a nice graphical display. So it's kind of nice. You can really appreciate this, right? Once you know how difficult it is, right? I mean, you know, it was quite the process for us to capture those packets and figure out how to decode them ourselves. This is pretty slick. Right? I can enjoy this more knowing how to do it myself more rudimentarily, right, at the command line. It's kind of nice to see it done this way, but it's nice to know that you can do it yourself too. It just gives you a better appreciation for it, I think. I think that's cool. Yeah, this is, I'm excited. I'm excited to get that thing slapped together and fired up. All right, what else do they have here? So they got stations, packets, satellites. Future satellites. Let's see if we can find Alpha. Okay, let's see. I wonder, it's probably considered experimental. Let's just take that tag off of it just in case. All right, let's try. Can't find it with Cornell. Let's see. I guess they only have these 3. I went 433. We lost 1. Let's see, what did they... I think this is the... Maybe it's called Chipsat. I was looking for it under Alpha. Let's see if it's called anything. I mean, looks like these are the only 2 things they've got on there. So, yeah. It'd be cool to see that listed, though. So here's all the active satellites. So what's this, a 6U? Check that out. Is that a 6U? Oh, see, this is so cool. I love when they put these databases in here and you can learn more about these satellites. This is so awesome. Looks like a 6U. Right? Or is it a... Yeah, 1, 2... There's a half up there and a half down here. So that's a 6. And this looks like a 3. Little GPS receiver up here. Looks like a GPS receiver anyhow. Wow, look at this. How did it deploy those? They must have been folded on themselves twice, right? That looks like that segment is a 2U, another 2U, and then another 2U. Yeah, this is pretty cool stuff. Oh, that's interesting. That's good to know, Dawn. Because my project, you know, I probably should, I'll add a couple of more things into this list. I didn't add the project box, but I probably should in case others want to add it. But and I didn't add it because I have a bunch of weatherproof project boxes already, but none of them have a clear top, I don't think. Oh, I got to pull them out. Okay. I'll do that tomorrow. See what project boxes I have that have a clear cover. Good. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. That's good to know that you can see some information on the display. Wow, look at this beast. What is this? A 12? Hey, look at this. Has this got some sort of propulsion? Small spacecraft. Take radio measurements. That looks like it's got like some sort of propulsion mechanism on it. Can't really. All right, now I'm curious. Now I'm curious. Okay, there it is. Oh, look at these dirty dogs. Satellite is reported to be transmitting at an uncoordinated or denied frequency. Tell us more about that. We got a rogue satellite here, boys. A rogue Russian satellite. So it's LoRa. Okay, that's probably what TinyGS is interested in, both of those. But what's the... What? Frequency misuse. I've never seen that before. That's so wild. We got a rogue satellite. So that's a 10U satellite. Does it have, it doesn't appear to have a web, well, it's got a wiki. Let's see. Oh no, that's not what I want. So we got a rogue satellite. Wild, Wild West. All right. So we know what frequencies it's supposed to be using. I got to write this guy down. Vladivostok. Anybody speak Russian? Vladivostok. How do you find out what it's transmitting on that it shouldn't be transmitting on? So you got to set up a really wide-banded antenna. Oh, you just got the rain in Central Texas. Sean, I hope it's not too bad. Hopefully it's just rain, buddy. You think that's an eastern port? But you'd need a really wide-banded antenna to try to... I guess could just listen on 2 meters, right? And if you're doing it on an SDR, you can look at the whole spectrum, see if it's transmitting anywhere. And then you could do the same thing on 70 centimeters, and then you could do the same thing on 1.2 gig with the 9700. I just began to hear some thunder. Ugh. Who uses that data, and can I get an API to this system? Are you talking about the TinyGS one, or are you talking about the AMSAT one? Or I'm sorry, the SatNogs one? Let's see. So those are just talking about packets. Let's see what the wiki has to say about how to get. All right, that's what we were looking at before. Trying to answer Chris's question to see if there's public access to this satellite data other than through the interface. Here, let's just Google it and see. Yes, TinyGS provides an API that allows users to access telemetry data from their ground stations. You can control various parameters and retrieve data through authenticated API endpoints. Okay, what's it take to get an authentication to get access to it? Let's see. A bearer token. Through the TinyGS Telegram bot. There you go. Some endpoints are accessible without authentication, but they have limitations on the number of queries. So I wonder if they give a token to anyone who requests one, or if you have to have like a satellite in the project. The TinyGS API offers a robust way to access telemetry data, enabling users to integrate satellite data into their applications effectively. Okay, where's the TinyGS documentation? Right here. Oh, it's a bot. Yeah, so anybody can get it. That's awesome. Okay, so looks like the answer is yes. Doesn't look like there's a lot of data here, though. We're still developing and testing this feature. Okay. Might be a case where if you just go to the endpoint, they might have some documentation on the endpoint, especially for the public-facing stuff. Right? It might be like a self-described endpoint. So yeah, looks like you can, Chris. Yeah, I bet you they do use CFS. Why wouldn't they? I would hope they did. Yeah, that'd be cool, Chris. Yeah, looks like it's possible. It's hard to say how how far developed it is, but sounds like it's something that someone with enough time to futz around with it could get something out of it. Let's see, SatNogs. I'm pretty sure SatNogs does as well. They've got a ton of... Here, let's just see. Yeah, it looks like it. So remember, SatNogs is kind of like a broad topic of different services. SatNogs DB is what we always use to pull up the data about a particular satellite. Yeah, right there. Open to anyone. There you go. Looks like everything is open as well. Yeah, so it looks like there's a lot of information available there too. AEOD, we've just been looking at SatNogs and TinyGS and trying to see if the data that they're collecting is available through an API. And it looks like both organizations do provide API access to the data repositories that they're generating. So that's pretty cool. So you could, all the data, like if we go back and we find here, if we go back and we find Dawn, looks like we have an ability to there's Dawn right there. Come on, I'm on that. There we go. So Dawn could go out there and he could, if he was interested, he could pull all this data back that his station is contributing to the TinyGS databases. And he could pull that data and build his own dashboards or do his own thing with the data that this is collecting and decoding. Right? Because this this automatically decodes any packets that it receives, provided they're good packets. That's pretty cool. It takes all the work out of it. I mean, this is some of the data here, right? You've got, I mean, this all looks like operational data for the satellite itself. It probably depends on the satellite as well. There's Norby. That's that one we looked at. I think this was a 6U. All right, so you get some operational. Right, that's coming out of the beacon. I think SatNogs looks like it's got some cooler data, but we may not have just hit the right satellite. All right, so what do we got here? I'm assuming this stuff here all came out of that packet. What are these unknown satellites? Why are these unknown? Oh, they're bad packets. Getting pretty much the same satellites again. Oh wait, there was a different one. FOSASat. No parser available. Now, what would be interesting is, can you, oh yeah, so right here, so you can grab the hex, and then you might be able to find, I mean, you could check and see if GR Satellites has a parser for it, for FOSASat. I mean, I would expect if I'm guessing this uses like GR Satellites and some of those other tools behind the scenes, so. You might have to go to the website, though, of the satellite, and they might have some parsers. But it looks like, at least for the satellites that we're hitting, let's look at these FSK satellites. Well, these are FSK too. It looks like SatNogs has more interesting data, right? They're capturing the waveform. They're capturing, you know, the audio, the waveform, pictures in some case, right? We saw that. Horizon, that's the one we just looked at. Let's see, does this search? So we got modes, LoRa, or, gotcha. Experimental, inactive, supported future. Yeah. Then they got one more that's a 1.2. Oh no, it's a 915. Okay. Yeah, there's I mean it can be a whole lot of fun playing with some open APIs for sure. But it still feels like SatNogs. Well, let's see what they artifact list. Any artifact associated with the, any artifact files associated with the observation. So you can get everything. Yeah, so that's awesome. Yeah, you can pull the full frame. Oh, look at that. You can use this for a source for TLEs if you want. I don't know why you would want to, but you could, right? Because they're getting them from authoritative sources, but you could. If for some reason you couldn't get to those other sources, Celestrac or AMSAT, that's pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. All right. Feels like we beat that one pretty good for tonight. I'm guessing this is, let's see, what all is this run on? Is this Windows only? Or is it web-based? Oh, nice. It's web-based. That's even better. I like them even more. Oh, this is going to be fun, guys. This is going to be a lot of fun. Good stuff. Yeah, it's a good project. This is an interesting map. I guess this is showing all the satellites that you see from your ground station. Interesting. Yeah, this is going to be good. I can't wait for that stuff to come in tomorrow. Gonna be fun. Gonna be fun. All right, gang, what else we got? We've lost quite a few folks here. We're down to 22. The pinging. Yeah, I think that was happening on the website itself. I think whenever there was a satellite within the footprint of the ground station you were looking at, it would ping. We still don't have a schedule yet for that SSTV event. It's still saying mid-November. So no news there. I just love this ham TV stuff. I hope they do something fun with that. That's not just related to school contacts. I mean, I think it's fantastic for school contacts, though. I mean, how much fun for those kids. That's so awesome. Yeah, I'm going to see what else I can find out about this guy, this rogue satellite. Can't believe we found a rogue satellite. Frequency misuse, the rogue Russian satellite. I got to get those other little items out there on here. All right, let's see here. Let's see, what else did I want to put out there? I should put this guy out there just as a representative. I wouldn't want anyone to buy that, though. I think I can put a comment on it. Does that show up? Yeah, it does. I don't know if you guys do much shopping through like creators lists or not, but whenever you see the little quotes on an item, right, that lets you know there's a comment about that item. Oh, let me think. What was that project box? I'm going to have to find that project box. There it is. Good. That way I won't forget. And then let me reorder these a little bit so that antenna shows up first. I think that makes it a little easier to find. There we go. Okay, we got that good. All right, what else you guys got? You guys falling asleep on me? Let's see. What else did I need? Let's see if I got anything else on my list I need to do here tonight. I don't think so. Let me grab some of these items here. So I make sure I've got them. Going to add all these links to the description. Oh, let's see what else here. Oh yeah, I want to add this one out there in case people are interested in it. That's good. That's good. Get a link to this so it's just easier for folks to get to this idea list. Just give me a share. It does. Okay, it gets me started. Let's see, going through my ISS detector app. My settings don't carry over from device to device. No, they don't. ISS is going over. Looks like it might be better for you. Let's take a look here. Let's get you guys so you can see what I'm looking at. I don't show a ISS pass. Let me see. I'm on the right grid. Yeah, there's the ISS, so it's not like I've got it turned off. No, I haven't looked for a little while to see if we've got any of these new satellites on here yet. Like Botan is not on there yet. Let's see. How about GHS-1? Let's see if it's out there yet. I'm wondering, maybe they won't put them out there if they don't have... Nah, some of these don't have voice repeaters. Does not appear. Not yet. It's interesting. Yeah, so what, let me take a look here. See, I'm not restricting based on the satellite's elevation. So I'm curious, Chris. It shows it's southeast on the horizon. Okay. Let's yeah, I'm not sure what you're looking at there, Chris. Here, let me swap over here. So I've got gpredict up. And it looks like the ISS is in the Indian Ocean. Yeah, there's nothing really in the U.S. footprint right now. Hades R, SO-124, right? That's the one we grabbed telemetry from a few weeks ago. That is going north outside of the U.S. up in Canada. Yeah, we don't have anything over the U.S. right now. Yeah, I see a good pass at 2:13 a.m. my time. That's probably that 3:17 your time, right? That's a 39-degree pass for me. So that would be a dandy. It is south, just a little bit southwest to northeast. So that would be a really good pass. Probably be a lot of, I mean, it's getting pretty late. I don't know how many operators you're going to get on the East Coast there, but in terms of elevation and location, it should be good. Yeah, ISS is way over here, right? Just approaching China. Well, south of China. It's got some footprint in China right now. Yeah, that'd be a good pass. That 230 or 331, whichever one, however you want to look at it. Let's see here. Oh, this is great news. So here's some hot news for you guys. I think I told you I'd reached out to Jim McCullers. He is the author of Austrax. And yeah, he's thinking that let's see. He wants to wait till we're a little closer to release time, so maybe the first of the year. Let's see. But we'll definitely get him on the channel, so that's good. Let's see. He's also the author of SigTrax. Okay, let's see what SigTrax is. He says it's for fox hunting. Get you guys back here squared away. Did I spell it right? Let's see. SigTrax, yeah. Needs a little help with his certs, maybe. Does he not? Let's see here. My guess is he's being forced into HTTPS and he's probably not set up for it. Okay. Signal tracking toolkit. Well, this is interesting. So he's got a mobile app. Multi-platform. He's got something here that's, he's got data tracks too. Sig share. Yeah, so it's good to see he's got a number of different things going on. Let's see. A data tracks dongle. Signal tracking. This is interesting. Let's see. Okay, let's see. I'm curious if there's a, looks like he's got a paid version. I'm wondering if he's got a free version of it as well. I'm still trying to figure out what you use it for. Do not track and drive. I guess you could maybe use this. I mean, that could be fun, right? To track down different signals. What's that crazy, what's that device with a bunch of antennas on top that people do signal tracking with? All right, let's see. We're losing some folks here. Alpha Charlie 8, X-ray uniform. Thanks for hanging out. It's nice to have you in the chat. I hope you have a great weekend. Yeah, the Kraken. I wonder if you can use this with the Kraken. Probably. I wonder if it's maybe a poor man's Kraken if you're using the software and some antennas maybe. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Signal Tracker Toolkit. Visual capabilities of Android mobile devices with high precision GPS location, handheld mapping to plot bearings and determine cross points. I use SIGTRAX to plot compass bearings taken during radio fox hunts. It's not only the only viable option, but it works well. Nice. It's nice to see some good reviews here. There's always one. Let's see what this guy here. Maybe no. Poor instructions never could make it work. Neither could other friends. Gosh. It's tough business selling software, isn't it? All right. Well, we'll learn more about Ostrax as we get a little closer to the first of the year. I'm excited that Jim's interested in coming on the program. That'll be fun. All right, let's see what we got cooking here. We still have some people hanging out with us. Oh, we've dipped below our 20. We're into 19. All right, let's see. Yeah, those are old iPhones for sure. All right, gang. Well, it looks like we've dipped below the threshold. I am so surprised and happy that we were able to get a stream in tonight. I was really concerned. I really didn't think it was going to happen. Man, I tell you, approaching 9 o'clock, things were ugly outside. But hey, we got a little reprieve, and we were able to get the stream in, so that's great. And I think at least we have a few people that are excited about the Cornell Alpha CubeSat mission. So I'm definitely excited about it. I can't wait to get a station put together. And it'd be a lot of fun if we can get some others that are also contributing, and we can swap stories and contribute to the project and just have a lot of fun with it. You know, it looks like a pretty straightforward project that, you know, if people are interested, they should be able to get involved. So to me, that's exciting, right? That's this doesn't look like one of those ones that you know, people want to get involved in, but you know, a little too involved. I think this looks like a really great project. What propagation experiments are they doing with SATs? What propagation experiments? I'm not sure if there's more context to that. Or not. Chris, why don't we put a pin in that one? And we can talk about that one next time. So I hope all you folks who are still in the path of that storm stay safe. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I know we're going to get more rain. I was planning on taking goats to market tomorrow, but the facility where I take them to, after it rains hard, it becomes just a real sloppy mess. So we're going to put the goats on hold this weekend. We'll do those in 2 weeks. We can go to the market here in North Texas every 2 weeks. They've got a goat day. So that means I've got some open time tomorrow that I wasn't planning on. So that means I'll be playing with all my new TinyGS stuff. I'll be hopefully working on a couple of these videos I've got to get knocked out. I'd love to get at least one of those out the door this weekend. And yeah, trying to put some stuff together for next week as well, right? As I'm working on the TinyGS stuff, what I like to do when I'm taking on one of those projects is just documenting a little bit of what I'm doing along the way. And then that gives me a good outline for us to follow whenever we get together next. So yeah, I hope you guys are able to get some of the gear you're interested in. And yeah, it's going to be fun. Well, thanks again for hanging out, everybody. I've enjoyed it. I always look forward to these Friday nights. It's always a lot of fun. But have a great weekend. Stay safe out there, all you that are in the storm's path. And until next time, 7-3, gang. Have a good weekend.